Well, hey everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have some ideas for you if you are one of my team members or one of my lovely team members or Paper Pumpkin subscribers. Then I have some extras for you. Hopefully something that you will enjoy. January 2021 Paper Pumpkin kit had to do with Valentine's Day, and I thought it was really a good kit. I really liked it. There's a lot you could do to stretch it and to change it around and make it your own. It was just real fun, I thought. You'll have to let me know what you think. So we had two different main designs for the cards, and I'm going to be showing you three other ideas if you have anything left over or if you want to try something else as well. Maybe some of these will inspire you to have something else that you can give a try to with your kit. Okay, so this was what the regular cards were in the kit that we made up. And I'm going to start off with showing you this one. I am calling the Triple Heart Front card. And I'm going to show you everything how to make that. I have all my goodies here, and you can of course do these any way that you like. They don't have to be done exactly how I'm showing, but these might be some ideas you can try, and you can use up some more of your products if you had anything left. They usually are pretty generous with all the pieces in the kit, so a lot of times it's more than you can even really use, or they give you extras, so it's kind of fun to use those for things as well. So for this card, I just have the sentiment Hi Valentine on it, and the inside is just the heart with sending love your way, and I used black and the red ink that came with the kit, which we got this little Stampin' Poppy Parade color of this little cube, and you can use whatever you have too. I am also going to supplement my black Memento ink. And I gotta find it. I must have had it left out yet. I'm going to find that here as we speak. But that's another thing that I substituted in. I try not to come up with too many things that are unusual, because I want it to be something that you can easily access or have on hand, some of these supplies. So black ink I thought was something that a lot of people might have. The Memento Black is something that we use in Stampin' Up! A lot, so that's a good one. But whatever you happen to have is fine. If you just want to use the Poppy Parade for the whole thing, that works well too. So what I'm going to do is get my block. Now with your first order, then you get a block. It's not the same one, but it's just a basic square block that comes with it. So I'm going to start by grabbing that beautiful heart here and stamping it 3 times on a white piece. So I think I have all of these in PDF form as well. So I have all the measurements and all the instructions written out. So then whichever way you prefer, then you can, or maybe even both. If that's how you like to do it, you'll be able to access it in both ways. Now since this is photopolymer stamp, I'm going to want to put a little bit of a foam piece behind it. So what I do is, you might have different types of foam. I don't know, you might not, but like we have different pieces of foam that we have for, like our Stamparatus and different things like that. So if you can find anything like foam, that's going to help you get a little bit better image when you're stamping. So I'm going to be starting with this 4 by 5 1/4 inch white piece, and also that is going to be going onto a piece of cardstock. Now I used gray this time. I'm just using gray, but it is 4 1/4 by 11. So you know how the large sheets of cardstock are, just cut it in half the long way. Score it in the middle at 5 1/2. Okay. I already did that with gray for this one. I happen to have this around, so it is 4 1/4 by 11 squared at that scored at 5.5. Okay, so now we need to get some of this heart inked up. And if you have any trouble with your ink, you can see through these, so that's what's nice, is you can kind of see where you're going with it. They aren't going to come out perfect every time, but that's okay. If you happen to have a kind of a reddish marker, you can go touch things up that way too if you don't get the image like you want. But you just want to look at it and just make sure it's all really nicely inked. So if you do that, plus have your that foam piece, you should get a pretty good image. Let's see, I'm going to start in the very center, just eyeballing it, and hoping that it is going to look nice, because this one is front and center, so it's going to show the most. So I'm doing firm pressure down, but I'm not rocking it. Rocking it can make it have extra images and can kind of wreck it, but you just want to think of kind of steady pressure down all the way around without rocking it and pushing it that way. Okay, and there we are. Oh, that's not bad. Now what I do is I happen to have some of the markers, you know, if I want it to be perfect or whatever, but it doesn't have to be either. This is a handmade card, so we know that it doesn't have to be perfect. But if you want, you can kind of fill in a little bit with a marker or something. Again, you don't have to do that. You could stamp it again. You could re-ink it and stamp it, but that can be kind of risky too. But you can always try it on another piece and just get it to the point where you like it. But I don't really mind having it kind of showing through and imperfect in some spots. I just kind of let it be. And now we're going to go one on top and one below, or one above and one below of this image. So we'll do that again. Hoping you can see okay. I don't know if I need to zoom in a little better. Okay, but I just don't want to go off camera too much either. So we are inking. I better move this a little bit. Let me get this nicely inked up again. I think that's key, is to just take your time and get plenty of ink on there. You can kind of swipe it a little bit, but you just want a real nice coverage all over and kind of pretty heavy, since it's such a big image. Okay, now we're gonna go above it, and it's gonna go off of the paper, but that's okay. And I should have probably just had a piece of paper under there so I'm not getting ink on my phone, but oh well, I didn't do that. I usually do work with a piece of just like copy paper or extra paper underneath, and that is fine to have that on top of the foam. It still has the benefit of having the foam underneath. And we have one more to do, and so I'm going to ink this up. Alright, we're getting there now. Nice heavy ink layer of that. Does that make sense? Ink layer? Okay. Alright. If you're doing a bunch of these, you could just have a full sheet of cardstock and just do a couple of rows and then cut them down. Same thing. You just kind of want it to look like it's a continuous row there. Alright, now I need to clean that one up. And I have, we have this chamois, it's called, and it looks hideous, but it works really good. It's actually been cleaned I clean it off in soap and water. It just is always stained and doesn't look good, but it cleans off stamps really well. So it's just a nice kind of reusable way of cleaning. I don't know. I'm not going to color that in anymore. I kind of like it that this image is, more brilliant, and these are a little bit lighter, and that's okay. Good way to get out of that one, right? Okay, so you can use the same ink color if you want to stamp some type of a sentiment onto the front. I just put Hi Valentine. I used that one from here. So I will use that again. I'm going to get a little bit smaller of a block here, but the one you have will be just perfectly fine. And I think I'm going to use black, but again, red would be fine too. I want a nice image without it getting muddy. So I am going to put it, where did I put it before? I think I put it on this side. Try to get it kind of straight. And, okay, like so. I got a little blob on there, but, well, oh, that's what I hate when I do that. And so, just so you know, that does happen sometimes. And there are different ways of dealing with it. And one way, I'm not really prepared with all my stuff to have it out. One way is to use like a white gel pen and kind of mark, you know, right over it. There, it's gone. That works pretty good. As long as I don't smear that or whatever, it'll stay hidden. Another thing is there are erasers you can get at craft stores that are sanding erasers. And they are amazing for this. And sometime I'll have to show you. Mine is not here at the moment, otherwise I'd show you, but it's just a little eraser that sands, and you can kind of sand that ink off if you have a little smudge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away this left excess white cardstock there. I'm going to grab my scissors and just going to trim that away. And what I'm going to do is want to make sure I don't go beyond center. I'm going to go out just a titch. Okay, so I'm just going to go, and we call this fussy cutting when you're just, you know, cutting it on your own, just kind of winging it. But it is very doable. What you want to keep in mind is you want to turn the project more than you're turning your scissors. So like I kind of think of it as steering the paper around rather than steering my scissors. Does that make sense? And that helps you get a little bit smoother edges and that kind of thing. So I just move the paper, not the scissors. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, that's that side. And then what I'm going to do is get a piece of cardstock or a little strip of this patterned piece. It's 2 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I'm going to be putting that back there, like so, onto our card base. And I don't know if you remember, I have the gray here, and you may have black or whatever, which is fine as well. I think I'm going to put this down first, but I do want to just verify that I got it over far enough. I don't want it a little gap in there, but it does look like it'll fit fine. So now I'm going to be adhering this. In the kit came some glue dots, and those work great. I just don't have any left or near me, so I'm going to just use some snail, if I can find it. All right. Okay, permanent. Now, I just did a video last night, and I had accidentally picked up my glue that was removable, and it was repositionable, so it wasn't very strong, and I thought, what is wrong with my glue? Because everything kept falling off. Well, now I know why. I had the wrong one. So I had to check and make sure that that didn't happen again here. But you can just put those glue dots from the kit, you know, all around on there. Even just the edges would probably be fine, but that would work just fine for that. And we're going to put this down there in this half, and just kind of have a little even border, about 1/8 inch around. And I'll be adhering this too. You could put this up on dimensionals and have it kind of sitting up a little bit. That might be kind of cool. I think I might do that. But before I adhere this down, I want to put the ribbon on there. I hope I haven't used it all, you know, too much of my ribbon up, because I don't have a lot left, but it should be okay for this, I hope. Otherwise, you can just always substitute other ribbon if you have any. So I'm going to just use some Scotch tape, and this is a little bit of the cheater way, but I am going to adhere this in the center of, right here. Okay. And then I'm going to run that down in the center. Go to the other side on the back and trim that off. This won't show. Oh, these are good scissors. Whew. Okay. Get it nice and tidy and straight. Fold it over and tape it down. And then I'm just going to make a couple little bows for to go on here and here. I'll tie those myself, or you could even, if you're not a fan of bows, you can just do knots, and maybe I'll do that just so that you can see what I mean by that. I'm going to get the dimensionals. I think you got a whole sheet of them in there this time, which is really nice because they are a handy card making tool. It really adds a lot to your projects to use dimensionals. It just kind of lifts them up and really kind of sets that off a little bit. I probably use way too many, I don't know. Okay, then I'm going to take off the liners here. You can just, pull them off however. I have a take your pick tool that helps me go quickly, or hopefully does. Okay, so those are all off. Throw those in the garbage. Okay, so I'll be putting this then onto the front of our card, and I want it to be in about that same border all the way around of about 1/8 of an inch or so. Okay. Press it down on all of those dimensionals on the back. And then I'll just make a couple of little knots to put on the front here. My sample that I had originally done, I did bows, but with this one I'll just show you a knot. And having this thin of ribbon, your knots and your bows and everything are really pretty small, but I think it'll still look okay. Ooh, if I can do it. Just tie a little knot into it. And put it on with a glue dot is what usually works best. So just make a little knot, I guess. And I have some scissors I just use for ribbon because they tend to stay sharper that way, although I wonder if I'm going to have to replace them. I think I probably, sometimes I cheat and I see them sitting around and I use those for my scissors when I know that I should only use them on the actual on ribbon and not for paper and stuff. It keeps them sharper and cuts better. Alright, so I have a glue dot here. You can use the ones that you got in the kit. I'm just going to kind of roll it up a little bit, otherwise it was kind of big and it would show. But these work good for those knots and ribbon and stuff like that. So I'm going to put one right here in the center, and it kind of holds that ribbon in place a little bit too. And then we're going to do another one. Usually tie bows and knots while my ribbon is still on the roll. It just, I think I waste less that way. Although I still, don't get it perfect. Still throw enough away, unfortunately, but I do pretty well, I guess. And we'll do the same thing with this one. I'm just seeing if it's a little longer on one side. I might have to trim down one of these ends a little bit. Okay. Alright, so I have horribly ugly hands right now. My working at the library and then working with paper so much, it just makes my hands dry out and crack and ugh. So library hands are really dry, and then so is stamping and working with paper. So that is, I kind of have had to give up on that a little bit. Not beautiful. Okay. It's kind of going wonky. I think that'll be alright. So there is the front, and of course we've got to use these cool hearts and stuff that came with the kit. I really like those. Kind of just something different. So got a lot of dusty stuff on there. Where do we want to put them? Wherever you want. I think maybe on this side I could use a little more color or something, a little more pop. Ooh. And bring in some of this lighter pink color as well. I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put a little one right by the words, maybe here. And then, I usually always do odd numbers. So I'm going to do 3. So there's one more I'll probably put on the other side, another little one maybe. And I'll put that one just right here in the center. There's no real right or wrong, except this is bugging me that this guy's kind of crooked. But he might just stay that way, I guess. Okay. Alright, so High Valentine, and then on the inside, what do we want? So I'm going to want to put a piece of white, or, you know, whatever, something. What did I use before? I used white, a white layer. And if I would have been thinking, I would have stamped the inside at the same time. I'm just trying to find my inside pieces. I probably moved them off to the side somewhere because I don't think it's here. Yeah, I had white. So I had cut a piece of white to go on the inside, and it seems to, I probably just put it to the side somewhere here, guys. But according to my instructions, I'll just recut that real quick. And, okay. Note to self, have extras ready ahead of time, right? So, I'm just going to cut this down. I have a little trimmer that's handy to keep on my desktop or whatever, my craft table, and then I have something easy and quick I can do at any time. So I am going to go, I'm trying to remember, it was 3.5 wide, and this is not, does not have to be exact. It's kind of however you want it. And it was going to be 4 3/4. So that would, I don't know, maybe around there. I'll make sure it looks okay. So this is going to go on the inside here, and that should be okay. I'm going to stamp a red heart there first, which, like I said, if I would have been thinking, I would have done that first and gotten all my stamping done at one time. But I forgot about that. So it just makes me take a little longer. The thing's falling off here, and let's stamp with this big guy again. And you could even use a lighter color, like this lighter pink would be a nice color to, if you happen to have something like that. Every time you get a paper pumpkin, you do get a new ink color in there, and they try to switch it up so that you have different colors each month. So you know, I have a big collection. You just, you know, through the months, every month you get a different one, so you end up having a good collection of these ink spots, which is really helpful, and it helps you to, you know, get a bigger variety of colors. And so I'll just try this one. The red would be just as wonderful too. Now it is a little harder with the light color to see if you have it on really well, but it's also not really as critical either, because that brightness of that red really shows no matter what you do. And I am going to put that right on the top center. Hopefully it's kind of straightish. And just pressing it down and letting it kind of soak in a little bit with even pressure. That's okay. Not my favorite, but it just looks like it's a little lighter version, I guess. Okay, then I'm going to put a sentiment on there. And I do need to clean this off again. Now I put, what did I put in here? Sending love your way. So we can do something like that if you, any of the sentiments there, or if you have something else, you can even handwrite it if you had a message you wanted to put on there. Okay, this keeps falling off. Sending love your way. I'm gonna get a, there we go. Okay, and I used black, I believe. I could use the red. There's no right or wrong. Ooh, I think my black got kind of pooled in one area. I don't really want to do that. Let's see, I guess it's okay. I just want to go light. I just don't want it to be a big puddle. So I had re-inked it recently, but I think I got to spread it around a little better. I hope this is okay, otherwise I'll have to redo it, but ooh, yay. Turned out better than I thought it would. Okay, so there's that. Cleaning it off again. That's why that chamois is so nice. It just sits on the side here and scrub, and you're done. You can use baby wipes too, or something like that. I use that a lot. Okay, so there's our inside, and we just adhere that to the inside of our card. And I'll just use snail. You can use the glue dots that come with it, or whatever you have. Ooh. My thing is, I get dirty fingers, and I don't want to make a big mess on everything, so I gotta be really careful, because I am not the neatest and tidiest of stampers. Like, there's a little bit right there. I gotta quit that. Okay, get that centered. Give that a smooth press. You can always kind of do it this way too if you want to rub around on it and not worry about getting it too dirty. I think I'd like to put a couple more of those cute pink hearts on there, and then that will kind of finish it off. You could stamp your sentiment on the pink and have it there on this other piece that comes with it. Could do that too. Okay, pinks. My pink little hearts, I don't know where I put them. Okay. Well, I'll have to wait to find them, I guess, and put those on the inside. So I would just kind of put them in the corner or wherever on the inside to just kind of dress that up as well. Okay? They'll show up. So there's the first one. All right, there's our first alternate project. Second alternate project is going to be a pop-up card. The outside just looks kind of basic, and then on the inside it, voila, pops. You can kind of see some of that and what's going on there. So we are going to start with the whole red base that comes with your kit, an extra one if you haven't used them all, and that just gets folded like so. But before we do anything else with it, we are going to make some cuts. And I'm going to go about 1/2 inch in two spots and about 2 inches apart. And it's fine to, make a mark on there if you want. So let's see if I have a pencil or something, a pen. We'll just kind of, this is going to get covered up, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to go here and maybe here. Okay, and then I'm going to go in the same distance, or very similar, and then we're going to just kind of make a little tab. You can do a couple of different ones too if you want to have a couple of items that are popping up, but I'm just going to do the main heart like you saw in my sample. I'm going to go about up to there, and then you just fold it over like this, and then I'm going to get my bone folder, which is a super, I would have to say, one of your top necessary things to have on hand if you like to do card making and paper crafting. Get a nice crisp edge on that. Then I'm going to fold it back this way also. Give that a nice crisp press. And that, then you can open it up, and you can see on the inside that if you push it in, that's how you're going to make your pop-up section. Okay? That's all you got to do. But it does make a little hack mark in there, right? So we need to cover that up, which is why I have this piece that's going to wrap around, okay? So this piece is, what did I do on this one? Oh, how about if I measure it and see? This is in the instructions too, so you'll have all of this already, but you don't have to try to remember it. But it's 4 1/4, I think, by 4 1/4 by 8 1/4, and then you just score it down the middle. Now scoring gives you a better result than just folding does. If you score it and then fold it, you get a nicer crease. You can do it either way, but it really does kind of make a difference. But just keep that in mind, because I was going to show you oh well, I don't really have something to show you right now, but you can really tell a lot whichever way you do it. Like, you can kind of tell if it was just creased and not scored first. Alright, but on this one, it's not going to show because it's going to be just folded in. You can't really tell. If you can see the back side, that's when you can tell more. So what we need to do is adhere this on. Now there is a little bit of on the end. You can decide if you want to keep it that way or if you want to trim that off. I'm just going to leave it that way. And I think for this one, let's see. What I'm going to do before I adhere this down is I think I am going to do my ribbon first before I actually adhere that to the front. So I won't need much. I'm going to be going around about that much. And then I'll do what I did before. It's kind of a cheater way, but you can just wrap it around. And then it just looks like it normally would. But it's actually not. It's not wrapped all the way around, and it's not tied like a regular bow. It's sort of a cheater version, but it also saves on ribbon, so you aren't using that much more, and after a while that really adds up. So you can't really see it very well right now on there, but it'll show up more once we get other items on there. I am going to, I don't have much, so I am going to do a knot again, just because I need to save on my ribbon a little bit, and that's a way to go. That's kind of saves on that, because the bow takes up more. Oops, wrong scissors. The bow takes up more of your ribbon, of course, so if you're trying to be careful with that, then you can just make a little knot. In fact, you don't even have to do that if you don't have enough ribbon left. You could just take this and put it on somewhere on your card front, and it's still a decoration and looks nice that way, just with the knot itself. People do that a lot. Alright, where is my glue dot? Glue dots are great again for ribbon. If it's bigger than your actual ribbon, you can kind of roll it up. So let's see, I guess that's not one. There's one right here. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so here is a glue dot there, right here. Okay, and it's kind of big. It'll show, and it'll be bigger than my knot. So I'm going to just kind of roll it a little bit. It's still going to be nice and sticky. And I'm going to put it on the back. And it really, they're just super sticky, but that's going to be all I need. Oh, where are you? I don't know if you can see that, but it is just enough stickiness to make it really adhere well onto our card. And you just roll it up to the size you want it to be, and then it won't just be sticking out and sticking onto things. Alright, so what I decided to do for the rest of this was, what kind of stamping do we want to do? So this love piece is already ready for us, of course. Then I wanted to stamp the word you on here for love you. And then on the inside, I think on my first sample, I did the same saying as the last one. And I had just stamped sending love your way. You can use whatever you like on there, whatever jumps out at you and looks like something you want to do. So I am going to probably do that one. I do like it, because that will work good. And it depends. If you're not sending it to somebody, then it wouldn't be the right one for you probably. So let's see, we have Hi Valentine, Be Mine. I'll do Be Mine this time. Love you, be mine. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Be mine. Okay, and now I'm gonna put that in here, and I'm gonna use, what color do I want to use? There's a lot of black on the front. Maybe I'll just use the red this time. Okay, where to put it? I get more and more like, messy as I go, and then after a while I'm not finding anything because it gets buried. Where did I put you, red? Oh man. Maybe I'll use black on this one. What a good idea. Okay, good idea. I'm gonna put I'm gonna stamp Be Mine on there. Okay, yippee. And then I'm going to say, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to stamp it. Stamp you on this little piece. Maybe I'll use the pink this time, just to switch it up a little bit. I even left that one on there still, but it's out of my way. I'll still be able to see through. And then clean them both up at the same time. Alright, love you. Stamping that on this little die cut piece that comes with the kit. Alright, that'll do. And I'll clean those off in a bit. Always got to cover my ink up right away, otherwise I will put my hand right in it and make a big mess. Alright, so here's our card front again. Set this one aside for a few minutes here. And we're going to be adhering that over this piece, remember. And what I'm going to do is just put adhesive up on this part, like so. I'm just going to be putting it there. Just want to decide, you know, it might be better to have a little give in this part of it, and let that kind of, since it moves a little bit, we'll just adhere it around the top part. So to be able to see what we're doing, it'll probably work best to just put it on here. But I don't want to go too wide either, so that I'll just go around this part of it. I don't want to get it on any of this centerpiece. But I know it'll go a little ways here. And it's better to keep it kind of closed and do one half at a time. So what I'm doing is I want it to be centered this way. So I want the same distance. That looks pretty close, I think. All right, got that in place, and give it a good press. Okay, like so. And then this is going to go, how did I do it? It just says love you, and I put these on dimensionals. It kind of makes it pop up a little bit. And one thing I want to show too is there is such a thing. We have something called Wink of Stella, and I'll put that on once I get it adhered on there. It's really a inexpensive but kind of a nice little thing that you can have that adds sparkle to different parts of cards. So if you like that kind of a look and you like sparkle, then that would be something you'd probably enjoy doing, is getting some Wink of Stella. It's one of my favorite things that I use a lot. Alright, so I am going to find some of those dimensionals, and I'm going to adhere that on here. Too many, just a couple. And we do have black dimensionals. We also have mini dimensionals, but if you don't have that, it's just perfectly fine to cut them. So Like I usually cut the large ones like this, just down like so. And then as I need them, I can pull off just little ones. You don't need to necessarily have the minis, because you can just make these little to the size that you need. Does that make sense? So like for this word you, I don't need anything large, but I still want a dimensional in the back. But you don't want it to really show, of course. So I just put it on there like that. Okay? All right, so then figure out where I want this. All right, there's one. You could dress this up in many ways. This is just kind of a basic card here, but the fun is the inside is really fun. Now that Wink of Stella I was telling you about comes in something like this. Oh, this one's broken if I remember. Oh no, it's not. It has a bulb that you kind of squish or push on, and then this really shiny liquid comes out and it dries on your project. I don't know if you'll even really be able to see it. I'm just going to trace it over the black letters on the word love here, just to kind of give you an idea. Again, I don't know if you can see it, but you kind of don't have to be perfect with it. It's very subtle, and I'll just put it all over you. And what do you think you're going to be able to even tell, I wonder? Can you see any glitter at all? I don't know. Well, it's there, and I can see it more here in person, more so than on the camera. All right, so that is what Wink of Stella is. Just adds a little shimmer. Then on the inside here, we want to adhere our heart onto this. Okay, so that's what it's going to do. It's going to be folded down. Oops, yeah, that's right. Folded down so that when we open, this pop-up's going to be here. Okay, it'll be just right on that. Now, I just want to make sure that it's not sticking out of the card when it's closed, and it kind of is a little bit. Whoops. I am seeing here it would be right there. So you can see it does stick out just a little bit, so I am going to trim a little bit off the top and bottom. Just I want to keep it centered, but I just don't want it to show when the actual card is closed. So I'm going to just trim a little bit off of each of these ends. Okay, like so. All right, and these guys showed up again, so I was needing them for the last one. Okay, and we can put it on here too. But this one, this Be Mine here, is going to be on there. And then down in this portion of the card, you can just write, you know, whatever you want. But what I did too, just to kind of decorate it up a little bit, was I just used all these sentiments and I kind of just stamped them all around on the inside. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm not going to use you. Well, I might, but here's Be Mine. Put that on a couple of spots. Okay, and clean it off. Okay, and you can do as much or as little of this as you want. No right or wrong again. Except with my dirty fingers, I'm gonna just wreck it, I bet. I gotta try not to get it all dirty in here, because my fingers are all dirty. Whenever I try to do it too fast, then I start making a mess. Even though you wouldn't know by the length of this that I was ever trying to do it fast, because it takes so long. Oh well. Hi Valentine, that'll be another good one to have in here. I don't think that got inked very well. Where do I want it? Hi Valentine, and one more. Oh, I put it right in the black. Whoa. Guys, I'm sloppy. Okay. All right, so now this Be Mine is going to be going right there. And so let's adhere that on. With a little bit of adhesive onto this piece right there. Push that back in. Alright, now I'm going to put this in place and then close it down. Just kind of wanting it to be centered. I don't think I'm doing that the right way. Oh, I didn't do any of it the right way. Oh my gosh, you guys. I think that, I guess it should be okay. Oh no! I tell ya, one of those days. So now I got adhesive there, and it's going to make it, you know, glued onto there, and I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to have to not let it do that. And I'll show you. There are ways of fixing things, although I just don't want it there. That's how I wanted it to be, and I had done it upside down. But to make it so this isn't sticky, I am going to get, we have these, like, this is called an Embossing Buddy. It's got powder in it. If you have cornstarch or something like that, you can kind of put it on your adhesive and then it won't stick. Yikes. And then hopefully things will be covered up a little bit. Love you on the front, Be Mine, and then you have all these all over on there, little sentiments here and there, and then you can write your own message in here. Okay? All right, that's a pop-up with our set. And one last thing I'm going to show you is how to, oh, and then I would want to put these pink, those pink hearts, resin hearts and flowers and that kind of thing on there as well, because that'll really dress this up, since it's kind of, you know, a little more plain. So it can handle a nice big dollop of epoxy resin decorations. So that will really help with this. Kind of put that like that. Okay. And then on the inside, I think I'm going to put one on this pop-up piece, like there. I have to go in and like clean this up when I'm all done because I have just junk everywhere. It looks terrible. And since this one has these flowers here, we can carry that over to the inside of the card as well. Okay. All right, so that's that one. The last one is a box, and this is going to be showing you how you can make a box in general with a lot of any particular paper that you have. It doesn't have to be an exact size or an exact science. So what I'm going to be doing is bringing in one of our layers of this, one of our card bases, and I'm going to cut it in half, and I'll get this little trimmer. Now it helps if you have a way to score when you're doing boxes. And there are different tools you can do that with. But first I'm going to start by cutting this just on that score that came on it. And now one of these I want to be bigger than the other. So I'm going to take one of them, and this one, I'm going to use this one and trim it. It got a little crooked there. So I want this piece to be trimmed off a little bit from each end, or from one lengthwise and one widthwise end. I'm just going to take off like about 1/16 of an inch, which is not a lot, but that little bit makes a difference so that it'll make a top and a bottom that fit together properly. I think I better go a little bit more for the width because this is pretty much the same. So I'm going to go a titch more off of one of the edges and then it should be about right. I'm going to straighten this. So I think that one crooked cut really was showing. So what am I left with here? The width isn't too bad, but I do need a little bit more off of the long edge here. So then that gives me two squares that are almost the same size, but one of them is a titch smaller, and the titch smaller piece is going to be the bottom, and the little bit bigger one will end up being the top. Okay? All right, I think that's enough of that. Now, for scoring, we want to score lines in all the way around at 1 inch in. Okay, so we go an inch in on all the edges on both pieces. So I'm going to show you one way there. If you happen to have a stylus, like a, let's see, I'm going to try to find one here. If you have a tool that has a round bead on the end of it, that's kind of like a stylus for scoring, you can use that. I use my trimmer, and so I'm going to, my regular size trimmer, because the trimmer has a scoring blade on it. It scores and cuts. I don't need that arm out, but so here you can see these. This is a scoring blade, it will not cut, and this is a cutting blade, so you can do both with the trimmer, with this trimmer. And so I'm going to go and not use this one, just use the light one, and I'm going to go an inch in all the way around. Now with our trimmer here, there's an inch in this way, so here's the track, and you can go an inch in this way, or you can put it an inch in this way. It doesn't matter, like if you're right-handed or left-handed, you might have a preference. But I am going to try to make it so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to go in this way. There's the 1 inch mark, and there's a line by it, so I know that it's lined up straight along the 1 inch in. Okay, so then this is scoring at an inch. Can you see that it's scored it? That's showing it all. I don't know how well you can see it. I want the light to kind of take it, but it might not be doing it. Oh, there you can kind of see. All right, so it's 1 inch in all the way around on all of the on both of the pieces on all 4 edges. Okay, there's an inch. Now, if you don't have this, like I said, you could use a ruler and something with kind of a not a sharp edge that'll cut, but an edge that'll kind of just score and leave a little bit of a mark in there, and that just helps your project to be more finished and have like crisper edges, and that really makes a difference. So this is the other one, and I'm doing the same here. One more. Okay. Now this is just a general box pattern, so you can adjust this up and down. So if you just have 2 pieces of paper, if they're larger, they're smaller, just if they're, it should be cardstock though, something a little heavier. But if they're similar sizes, just make one a little bit smaller, and then you'll be able to make a box top and bottom. And you can kind of see, hopefully, there is a square kind of area. See that on there? I don't know if you can. It is a square all the way, or a rectangle. Duh. Okay, so we have those score lines in there. And now we'll want to kind of crease those and just really bend them in and get a nice solid crease. And I'm going to get a bone folder so that we can just really crease it down well. Okay, that does make a really big difference. Okay, there's one. And now you're going to be able to see the size a little bit better of how big it'll be. You can make, like, if you, this is how high the box is going to be, 1 inch. because that's how big it is where we went around. If you just went a half of an inch, you'd have a thinner, flatter box, but it'd be a little bit bigger. So you can kind of keep that in mind as you design your own boxes too. So we'll do this one as well. And you can make them bigger, smaller, whatever, but that's just the difference, how you can vary it to make it how you want. Okay, next we are going to be snipping and trimming. So you're going to want to cut in to this score mark on the same side. So I'm going to cut in on the long side. You could do cutting in on the short side too if you'd rather do it that way. Just make sure each end or each side is the same, a mirror image. So I am going to be cutting in on this score line up to the score line. And then I'm going to be taking a little wedge out. Now these 4 end pieces are going to be tabs. You're going to be gluing tabs there. So think of them as tabs that you're making. But your first cut, you want them to be straight so that this edge of your box is nice and straight. If you make this a tab going that way, it's going to not be a nice square edge for your box. Does that make sense? So first you snip in and then you make the tab. So I snipped in and now I'm making the tab. Repeat here, snip in and then make the tab. Okay, 1, repeat. Okay, and making these tabs trimmed like that just makes it so it doesn't buckle, and it's just easier for it to fit together and hold together better. When you are doing boxes and 3D projects, you do want to make sure you're using a good strong adhesive. I would suggest maybe getting some liquid glue called Tombow. That's what we call it, our green glue, just because it's a green container. I just used my last one, so I am sorry that I can't show you an example of that. But that is what I would prefer. Another thing we have is called tear and tape, and that is just like a tape that's on a roll, and you can put that down and take the wax layer off, and it's really strong too. But oh yeah, here, I think I have some. Oh no, maybe not. Wow, it's falling. So I'm just going to use my snail just to get this done for you guys, but when you're doing it at home, you're going to want to make sure you're using probably stronger than this is. So glue dots would work well too. Maybe I'll do that. So I have glue dots, and you have glue dots in your thing, so that'll work in your kit. So on each tab, now we're going to be putting them like this. This is going to go on the outside, that nice square edge, and we're going to be gluing them in like that. So then that tells you that you're going to want to put your adhesive on these tabs right here, okay? On each of those corners, we want the adhesive, and then that'll make it fold in right. I'm just going to do this for now. Okay, so now put it in, match up that corner to make a nice square corner. This, just make sure the tab goes on the inside. Okay, nice square corner there. And cutting that tab, oops, I didn't get enough glue on that one. Cutting the tab like that is what's allowing you to kind of move it a little bit to get it exactly where you want it. Because we did cut off a wedge out of there, and that really helps it to be a little more forgiving. Last one, make sure I have adhesive on that one. Okay. One thing you can do is when you're done, you on the top one, which I don't know if this is the top or the bottom yet, but you can, this is bigger. So this is going to be our top. You can take a circle punch and punch out a little notch there, and then that would be helpful for people to, you know, pull up the lid better. If you just do half a circle punch on each side. So that's just something if you want to, if you choose to do that, you can. So we'll repeat here with the adhesive on these tabs. And this is like a perfect size just for some little, you know, treats or a little gift in there, depending on what you're giving people for Valentine's Day or for whatever you choose to make a box for, of course. But this one, then, it should turn out that this one is the smaller and it should fit perfectly, which it does. Yay! Alright, then that comes right out. It's plenty big, but not too big. So there you are with the just the base of the box. You could put a little tissue in there. You could decorate something in here. You could take one of these little leftover things and put it on the inside if you want, or on the inside of the lid. But what I'm doing is I just decorated the top of it, and I just took, as you can see, I just took a leftover mailbox die that we have in the kit, and I cut it down to fit. So you can just kind of decide where you want it, and you know what you want cut off and what you want there. So you could kind of just go like so. And now I'm going to just go around the outside, and I know that I want that pen mark to be cut off that I just am putting in here, but it can be smaller than that. This is just, I want it to be at least this size but a little smaller to make sure I cut those off. Then that'll be about the right size, because you can see I just had it just a titch smaller so that it would kind of show that a little border of your box color around it. And we trim that away. I'm being just kind of general, but I'm making sure I'm being generous with how much I'm cutting off. And then I can always cut it a little more if I want to after I get that done. So I wouldn't mind it being a little smaller. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, probably a little smaller width-wise. Just a little bit more, even though I'm hacking off part of the mailbox. I think that'll be a little bit better. Just, I mean, a titch. Very little. How much is a titch? I don't know, 1/16 of an inch? Alright, so we can do that. Okay, it still shows it and it'll still look nice. So I'm going to adhere that to the top. Okay, just think we made this box. I made it. You guys can make this box. It's so cool. And let's see. Oh, I should have stamped it first. Next time do that. But since I didn't do that, maybe I will just use one of those fancy loves on there, or decorate it with some of the black ribbon I have left over. And one thing that looked really cute that I saw somebody had done was take one of these, the teeniest little heart. Let's see, here's one. And put that right on the little envelope of the that's coming out of the mailbox. And I thought that looked cute. I've even seen where people have it where they can pull out a message. So you would have this cut right there, and you'd be able to pull it out and have a message on there or something. The sky's the limit, whatever you like to do. And a little knot around the base of the pole is a good idea if you want. You could do a bow too, of course. But I only have this much left. I have used this for so many things though. Black ribbon like this lately, it's been on a lot of my projects. I don't know why. I don't usually use it so much, but maybe it's because it was here and then I appreciate it all the more. So we'll make a knot, put that on. This is plenty big, but sometimes it's the little things that are hard to do. Like make a knot. Oh goodness. Yeah, plenty big. I didn't need it that large, but oh well. Okie dokie. Then I want another glue dot to adhere this onto the pole of our project here, and then just trim it down however I feel like doing that. I like it at an angle a little bit. Okay, there we are. You could put somebody's name on there, you know, and then you could put a message on the inside, put some little candies, little tissue in there, and you have a cute little box. Oh, yay! Happy Valentine's Day or whatever. Wow, I made a big mess, but I hope you got some ideas that you like of, oh, I see what I did differently. I made this one vertical and this one more horizontal. Well, there you go. Ooh, what's in here? Oh. I was taking pictures of it and needed something to weigh it down because it was tipping over. Oh, goodness. All right, here's some of our goodies. I hope you enjoyed these alternative projects and that something jumped out at you that you feel like you could use and enjoy and make your own. You could change it up however you want. Let me know if you have any questions about these projects. I'm going to be putting all the measurements and instructions in a PDF format too that you'll be able to access. I'll get that to you in your email when I send this to you. So thank you for subscribing to Pipe or Pumpkin, and or you're one of my team members, and thanks for being part of my team. You take care.